Welcome to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kelly White.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody, and welcome to spiritual medium Kelly White. Ask Me Anything. And I'm actually in my office in Los Angeles today. April Fools. April Fools. I am really still on my farm, and we have tractors going crazy outside. So happy April 1st, everybody. It's great that we're headed into spring, and I'm so happy that we're headed into spring right now. My goodness. So happy. Hi, Verna. Hey, Lori. Thank you very much. I'm wearing my purple today. Hey, Joanne. Hey, Tracy. Hi, Julie. Welcome, everybody. Hi, Lori Clark. Hey, Dora. Hey, Cynthia. Oh, Santa Cruz. I love Santa Cruz. Gosh. Hey, Lizette. Oh, I just love you. Hey, Susie. Nice to see you. Oh, I know. We're all excited about Tami Hendrix today. Hey, Tammy Lynn. Hey, Penny. Oh my gosh. Hi, Lois. Hi, everybody. This is going to be really fun. And yes, we have a very special guest today, which is Tami Hendrix is our special guest today, the greatest animal communicator and just the greatest human being. But before we get to Tami, I want to talk a little bit about April, because April is quite a month for astrology. It'll be quite a month. I think it's going to be a roller coaster. Not that we haven't been on a roller coaster. This month has some energy attached to it. Yes, we're in spring, and yes, the world is starting to move. A little bit, starting to move. And warm is coming, Tracy. Oh, please, God, I don't want to look at snow again for a very long time. And I've had it with the snow. Anyway, but I want to talk about April, because April is going to be about self-awareness. If we just take the sign of Aries, Aries is about the self. And so this is going to be an interesting time, because you're going to be able to choose your battles. So what I mean by that, there'll be some intense situations. You'll be able to say, I'm going to battle, or I'm not going to battle. I'm going to take a higher road. So this is going to give us all kinds of choices during this month. So again, as I've always said, watch your energy. Watch if you want to battle with somebody or not. They're at the end of the month, or sorry, between the 19th of April and May 3rd, we have a stellium in Taurus. And a stellium is when you have 3 or more planets all in Taurus. And it's going to be the Sun, Venus, Mars, and Uranus. Really powerful time during that period. And again, that's April 19th to May 3rd, a very powerful time. But what I do want to talk about today is on April 9th, Mars is in Gemini. Mars, the planet of war, among other things, and energy and intensity. I'm sorry, Mars is in Gemini during that time, and it's going to square Neptune, and Neptune's in Pisces. And so that's a really difficult aspect. So on April 9th, I want everybody to just pay attention to their energy, about squaring off with people. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. I would say let things go when you can, especially that day. And it's going to be about letting go of negative feelings towards different people in a relationship. So again, it'll push us to our finest. Why don't we say it like that? So, and Debbie Foster says, what does it mean for those of us with birthdays this month? Well, happy birthday to all of you April babies. It means that you'll be doing a lot of inward work. You'll be, really trying to raise your awareness, raise your consciousness, and working on yourself. That's what this month will be, working on yourself, as we have some big roller coasters with this. We're going to have some amazing moments this month too. So it's not all doom and gloom. It's just some intensity, and then, some good and some really good things. So it's going to be an interesting mix of things. So anyway, thank you, Tami. I love the flowers too. I'm not sure what those pink ones are, but I love them. And I love the daffodils. So having said everything now, we're going to introduce Tami. So let me tell you, people who don't know Tami Hendrix, she's one of my dearest friends. I love Tami. I truly love Tami. I met her in Mexico. Golly, it's been 2 years now. We were with James, actually, and I met her in Cancun. And She's just wonderful. She's a wonderful person. She's an animal communicator and a compassionate medium, that she is, and a healer committed to helping relationships transform on every level. Her childhood experiences helped her forge a deep, compassionate connection with all beings, allowing to see the true essence of any soul or situation. The unique ability allows her to have a soul level awareness to communicate with animals emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And I have seen it. I've worked with Tami, with my animals, and she's extraordinary, actually. She's able to tune in and see that soul of your animal, the path of the animal, and how it intertwines with your own. She has worked with James Van Praagh in doing webinars with James. She's been on my shows many times, and she has a lot of stories and gifts to share with us today. So I'd like to welcome Tami Hendrix.
Hi there. Hey,
Hi,
Kelly.
Tami, and I love that we didn't get the memo, and
I
yet
know, right?
we wore purple.
That's right.
Thank you. Welcome, welcome.
Oh, thank
So
you.
glad you're here.
I'm so glad to be here. I'm really excited. I've been excited all day, looking
Oh,
forward to connecting.
oh my gosh, and I know you have a friend with you.
I do. I will
Way to
show
see
you.
this.
This is Emmy.
How cute is she? How
Emmy is
cute.
a little like 11-month-old Cavalier puppy. And she came to me in a very unusual way. The person that had her, got her, became very allergic and was unable to keep her. And I offered to hold her until she could find a home. Total foster fail. But she's really, really sweet. Just a doll, really.
She's so cute. Oh my gosh.
She is, and I had not been familiar with Cavaliers, but oh my goodness, they're just loving,
Yeah.
kind, very kind-hearted,
Mm.
very happy. They're social butterflies, I would say.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you have her. I
I
know
am
how
too.
happy she's got to be. Oh, she looked up at her mom.
Yeah,
Oh, as if on cue.
I know, right?
Oh
She's so
my
sweet.
gosh. She is
So she
so
might be
cute.
making an appearance during this. We'll see.
Well, we've got a lot of questions to talk about, and but one of the things I do want to start with is, uh, do animals grieve? Because we have so many people that have lost animals
Mhm,
and that continue and that have animals. I have a dear friend who's had her dog, her beloved dog, passed away, and the dog that was remaining was so sad for the first
mhm,
3 days. She took his mat and placed it in the front of the front door, waiting for him to come back. And then my friend heard her crying at about 5 in the morning,
oh,
crying. And so at that point, my friend knew she had to get a second one
mhm,
for the one that was remaining, a second
mhm,
dog. So
mhm.
let's talk about grief. They clearly feel grief.
Oh, they absolutely do, whether it's, from their, a canine friend or, even feline friend that they lost or a human.
Yeah.
The level of relationship they have is no different than how we have. And
Yeah.
so when that one does go, like their best friend or their pal or the one they hung out with, it can leave quite a hole for them. And, my approach has always been with grieving is a process that we all go through, and it
Mhm.
means we've loved the one that was, that's gone. I mean, that's truly what it means. And so it's, in a way, it's our way of honoring that being that has been
Mhm.
there in our lives. Um, and I think, we can see the animals grieving, and some of the ways they show that could be loss of appetite, or they're not as interested in life as they used to be. It's very similar. I mean, really no
Mhm.
different than humans.
Wow.
They look out to see if the other one's coming back. Still, they sleep a lot.
Oh,
So many changes in their behavior. My feeling always on that has been to let them go through the process, not to try to
mhm.
intervene, not to try to stop the process any more than we would with a person. We would understand it in a person. With
Yeah.
animals, it's a little harder because we just want to help them. We
Yeah.
just want to I had Julie, I had Sadie pass last year in about April, and Julie was her pal, and they were both about the same age, 14, 15. And after Sadie passed, Julie just stopped eating. She just literally stopped eating.
Wow.
She got very quiet in her energy. She withdrew in herself and kind of coasted for about 6 weeks. She ate very, very little that entire
Mm,
time. And I was on the watch for, what to do.
mm,
Like, do you need me to intervene? What do you need me to do? And she made it clear that she was in her own process and would let me know.
mm.
And she did. One day
How did
she
she
let me
let you know?
know.
How'd she do
Um,
that?
she gave me a certain look that day,
Okay.
and I sat with her. I think
Mm,
that's one of the things we can do when we have a grieving animal is just be with them like we would a child or like we would a person, just sit in the
mhm.
room with them. Just not try to fix it,
Right.
just to be holding the space for them. And she looked at me and she said, "I'm done." And I was like, "Okay, I can help you now." But
Wow.
until that time, 6 weeks of trying to get her to eat and what do you want me to do and how do because you're kind of the support at that point. It's their life.
Mm,
Um, and so, yeah, she passed very, very, very peacefully. You know,
wow.
almost was gone before she was gone. So I think
Mm,
that 6-week period was her withdrawing, her backing out,
mhm.
taking the back step out.
Yeah.
And I've found it, you know, to really respect their process and not try to fix it, not
Mhm.
try to like force them and get them something they don't need because everybody has their own grieving process and what that looks like.
Yeah.
And so animals very, very much go through that as well.
Mm.
And I've got some ideas on how to help them during that process. That's not necessarily fixing it, but it's just supporting it.
Well, hold on to that because Lori Stifler Kerwan says, I have a cat grieving right now at 18. Wow. She lost her older brother and her younger brother, 19 and 16, this last month. Oh, gosh, that's a lot. I
Mm.
don't know how to help him. I think he's too old for another cat or kitten. So, how would Lori, what's her process with this?
Well, I guess I'd ask her, like, what is he doing that makes her feel like he's grieving?
Mhm.
I'm sure he is. Like, there's no
Yeah.
question. I would, at this point, given his age, just be with him, and I would sit and in quality time, just be with him and tell him stories. Like, do you remember when?
Oh,
And remind that one of all the good times that they've had.
yeah. Wow.
Animals, especially at the end of their life, love, love, love us to tell them stories. Like what made their lives meaningful, like to
Wow.
us. Like, I remember when you ran on the beach, and do you remember you ran off and got that? And I was so worried about you. Whatever the story is, they really like hearing that. It helps them
Huh.
connect back to the life they've had and
Wow.
reconnect them to you. It's a wonderful way. It's a wonderful, like, signing off that you can
Yeah.
give them during this time.
Wow. Debbie Foster, amazing. Debbie Foster Horan says, so do puppies grieve? This is a great question. Their mothers and siblings when they leave
Oh,
their original litter. I always wanted to know the answer to
yeah.
that.
They do. They do. That's a great question. They absolutely do. And the mothers grieve their children
Oh,
leaving,
oh,
especially if they are taken too soon. From my experience, and I've had like 4 different mothers come to me that have been over the years that have been pregnant and have had puppies, and I've watched them and I've learned from them. It's real. Mother energy is super important. Like, it's a real thing. Like with animals, with
yeah.
humans. And I've watched them. It was very, very important for them to complete the process with their puppies. If they're taken too soon from mom, then both mom and puppies always long for that connection, and they will forever look for that in their lives to be supplied. Like, they will always have that piece missing.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Um, Lori says that her cat was walking around meowing everywhere. She
Yeah.
says, I try to hold on to him and talk to him, but he just keeps meowing at me.
I would let him meow. I wouldn't try to stop the meowing. I would just honor the fact that it's almost like a wailing that
Mhm.
they need to do, like
Ah,
moving energy. And I
yeah,
just, I wouldn't, I would, I would notice it. I would respect it and just honor it, not try to stop it. Because it's not,
yeah,
it truly is a way of processing energy.
yeah. Wow. So the meowing and the whining, maybe, and it's
Yeah,
grief.
yeah.
It's grief.
It's grief. It's the way this one is expressing the grief.
Yeah.
Others may do it differently. They may park themselves on the spot where
Mm.
that one was and not move, right? It's
Yes.
everybody's,
Yes.
every animal, every soul is different on how they process grief. And so
Wow.
I would just, I would I would honor the fact that they're wailing and say, I so understand. I miss them too.
Now, Leslie Baum has this boy, Leslie. This is, I'm sorry for your loss. She says, my fiance recently passed away. I'm sorry, Leslie.
Oh.
That's awful. And his baby, Neela, our dog, is very depressed. Any
Mm-hmm.
suggestions on how to help her? Now, that's a great question, too, because between humans and when a human dies and the dog is remaining, the animal is remaining, that's a tough one.
Yeah. I'm so sorry for your loss, and that is huge, and it's a great question because it's so deep. I think what I would do is I would make sure that you show pictures to the animal, visually show the animal that that he's still there. This is who he is. He's not gone, and tell them that you're grieving too, and that um, you could do this together, and that
Mm,
that the animal's not alone, um, and that maybe in the holding of the hands kind of
hmm.
together,
Yeah.
you can support each other. I would so like make that a connection to know that you understand the space they're in and you're in that space too, and let's help each other.
Mm. Would it be wise to, give her dog his shirt or the
Oh,
smell of or
yes, I will.
blanket or
Yes,
something?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I'd walk that animal around the house and just say, and remember this spot, and remember that spot. I would
Mm,
definitely like what you want to do is reconnect them to the love that they feel, and know that that's not gone.
yeah.
And you do that almost like you're holding a child's hand, and you're
Mm,
showing them, look, you see, they're
mhm,
they're still close to us. This is how we remember them.
yeah.
That you keep that going.
Yeah. Oof, that's a tough one
It is
because
a tough
not
one.
only is she grieving, but
Right,
her dog is grieving. That's a
right.
lot of grief,
That
you
is,
know.
and at the same time, I feel like they can support each other. It's like, wow, we're in the same boat, and I'm
Also,
really hurting.
oh, absolutely. And also, animals can see the other side pretty
Yes,
easily,
yes,
actually.
yes,
So her dog or cat or whomever may look up and see that soul that's passed away.
yes, absolutely. A lot of times people
Mhm,
ask me, like, my dog or my cat's staring off into that spot, and
mhm.
they do. They actually see. And the
Mm,
more we just honor the process they're going through,
right, right.
they're gonna always accept the process we go through.
Right, right. Sarah Stone asked a really interesting question. Can animals grieve their own oncoming death when they are getting close? She said she had a cat that howled when it got older. That's very interesting.
A cat that
That
howled.
howled.
Hmm,
Yeah.
interesting. Um, I think animals definitely prepare, put it that way, and they may
Okay.
prepare for a long time.
Yeah.
It may be a year, and they already know they're going to be leaving, and so things get put in order.
Yeah.
Um, and closer to the time of their passing, from one perspective, they're never, they do it a lot easier than we do it for
Mhm.
sure. Um, but they do get concerned about whom they're leaving.
Mm,
If the people they're leaving aren't in place yet, or aren't
right.
up to speed, or they don't
Oh,
understand it,
yeah.
then it's like, I always like this. Dr. Northrup, Christian Northrup, gave this image of being in a house, and as we graduate from one space to another, we move to different rooms. And if we look back like we're moving to another room, if we look back and we see somebody who's wailing and upset, then we can't fully go on to what we're trying to go on to because
Yeah.
they're kind of upset. And that is similar to what animals go through when they're closer to that transition time, and they've done all they can to kind of put things in place, get things ready, tie up loose ends, just like people do. And there's a piece that's still like energetically somebody who's really, really upset. So yes, they can kind of express that through. Yeah.
I have found too that I've seen this in so many of my clients. I've had this experience and my friends, where they have a dog or a cat, an animal,
Mhm.
and it dies. It dies suddenly or soon, or it dies right before the person is about ready to make a big change in their
Yes.
life.
Yes.
Let's
Yes.
what do you think about that?
Yeah. I always ask people to take a look at when they come in and when they leave.
Yes.
They're always connected. No, there's always connection. Whatever's orbiting in our life, the animal is in tandem with. So when they come in, you might be in a big transition. A lot of people say they've had divorces and then this dog just found them, or the cat came to them, or they felt the urge to go get an animal. It's like the animal is sent in at the very right time. And then when they leave, even if it's sudden, I would always look to, okay, what was going on at the time? What time of year was it? What transition was I in? Was I, in some personal, transition myself? Was my business, like, what was going on? Am I going to the next chapter? Usually you'll be able to kind of fit that in place, especially with the sudden leavings.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. It's so interesting. We had some questions, and we have got plenty up here, but there's one that I really wanted to get to that I thought was really, I do want to talk about this. And this was from Maria Carp Diem. And she wrote this on Facebook, and she said, I grew up with such a fear of dogs because I have had so many clients that have had and known people in my life that had such a fear of dogs. And she said, and lo and behold, I was attacked by one. She said, decades later, I have worked on healing this fear and ready to get a puppy. How can I connect with the right one that is destined for me?
I think I would take a look at, why are you ready to get a puppy now? Why not a year ago? Why right now? So apparently, if she's considering it at this point, there's an opening. There's an opening coming in. And so if she's tuned into that, then what she needs to do is just pay attention to, animals come in so many different ways. They can show up, you can go find them at shelters. Somebody can say, hey, I need a dog or have a dog that I need to rehome. If you're interested in a puppy and you're ready, even after this kind of trauma, I would totally ask for recognize that I was ready. Like, okay, I'm ready, but I'm a little like, I need to know it's the right one. I would definitely put out to the universe, please make it clear to me so that I am very clear of what animal is supposed to be with me. Show me a sign that I get it, because we can get very confused on, oh, it's a cute puppy, or, I love that breed, or what she's really, I think, wanting is, she wants it to be a soul connection. She wants to be the essence of the animal, not necessarily the way the animal looks. And so I would definitely put that out there that, if I am meant to be with a certain animal, please make it very clear to me so that I get it. I know it. And you always are. Once you make that agreement with the universe, it's not just going to send in any, like, you're not going to be matched with just any animal.
Right. That's so true.
Yeah.
Let's see. When Celeste Campillo. Hi, Celeste. She said,
It's
when
like,
I was decided to separate from my husband, my goat suddenly passed. You had a goat?
oh,
And I
wow.
always felt she did that so I could leave and not worry about her. Yes. And was your ex-husband a goat? Um, Yeah, no, seriously, that's what
Yeah.
happens. I've always said that if you're getting ready to make some sort of change, and if that animal knows that you need freedom or you need this or that, often they will just pass. A
Yeah.
goat, that's a new one on me.
They
Um,
do. Yeah, they absolutely do at specific juncture points.
right.
And it's like they're ready for a new chapter and you're ready for a new chapter so
Yeah.
that you both grow on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Diana Sparks says, "Can animals you love be reincarnated? Oh, animals you love, and then ones who've passed away, can they be reincarnated and come back to you?"
I would say a resounding yes. Yes.
Resounding yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm,
definitely. And
mhm.
I get that question a lot, and a lot of times the animals are um, the energy is not high for that right at the moment they ask, because there's not, it's kind of
Oh,
a divine timing thing. So it's
yeah.
not like things have to transpire. Just like I have one on the property now, a cat who reincarnated. Um, but I've heard James talk about this, and it's the soul aspects that
Mhm.
come through. You will still have the personality of the new one with the
Mhm.
soul aspects of the one that you already had. So there's kind of you'll be able to recognize, like, oh my gosh, I know you. I
Yeah.
know I can recognize your essence anywhere.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's so interesting. My gosh. Um, what happened on your property with you had a feral cat. Let's talk
I
about that.
did. That was Sneakers. I told about that the
Sneakers.
first time, Sneakers. So, I had a feral cat that showed up in our garage, started eating, and he wouldn't leave. And so finally, I went out in the garage and I was like, "Look, dude, if you're going to stay here, we have rules. And one is you got to go to the vet, and you can't beat up on the other cats." And so I ended up trapping him, getting him to the vet, and getting him, checked. And then I brought him back. And the day I brought him back, I said, "I'm happy to let you out here and you're welcome to stay, but these are the rules. We respect everybody." I went through the whole list,
And you're saying
and
this out loud.
totally, totally out loud. And I opened up the crate, the trap, and let him out. And for several weeks, then he stayed around and he came and ate. He didn't bother anything, and then over time. He started to get friendly, which I sort of was suspicious of because I didn't trust him. And I would be outside and he would crawl on my back, and so I'd like tense waiting for him to like swipe me or like grab my hair or something. But that became his way of showing me he loved me, and he couldn't do it face to face.
Oh, wow.
He would crawl up on my back and nuzzle on my neck. And so I learned that if I sat outside quietly, he would come and do that. So over time he became very, very, I would say as domesticated as he chose to be. I never forced him to be anything he wasn't. And that's a big thing with me with animals. Don't force them into something just because I think he needs to be cuddly. Um, so one day I saw him in the garden area and he didn't look well. And I was like, "What's up, Sneakers?" And he let me pick him up. So I knew something was wrong then. Like he never let me just pick him up. So raced him, and I could tell he wasn't well. So raced him to the vet, and he had like this god awful UTI, and was in bad shape, even though he had not shown that to me up until that
Wow.
very point. And literally, while I had him there, he passed. I was
Wow.
so shocked. One day, one minute he's there, the next he's not. So I remember I was just like, how could this happen? And I don't know that I could have helped him because he didn't show it to me and I couldn't get him. So at any rate, 2 weeks later, I had a dream. And in the dream, Skittles came up the driveway and I went outside and I was like, "Oh, Skittles, not Skittles, sorry, Sneakers. I'm so glad to see you. It's wonderful to see you." And he stepped aside and he showed me this little black and white kitten. And I
Whoa.
looked, and then I woke up. A week later, this little kitten shows up, and my son's coming in, and he's like, "Hey, mom, there's this like little black and white kitten in the bushes." And I was like, "Really? Please? Like, no." Um, and so he says, "Yeah, we need to help it." So of course he brings the kitten in,
Wow.
and it's the kitten from my dream.
Oh my gosh.
So I worked with him and kept him in until he was like I am not an indoor cat. Just saying, I got to get out. So I named him Skittles. That's why I keep mixing up the names, because it's Sneakers, Skittles, Sneakers, Skittles. And Skittles is still there to this day. He is
Wow.
very much Sneakers energy, like
Wow.
100% patrolling the front. Like, I've got this is my area. And yet he's got his own flavor. So
Interesting.
yeah, they do come
Wow.
back.
So Lori Count says Kiko, her dog, and I have a relationship like that. She and I communicate soul to soul, and Kiko is a Japanese name for blessing.
Mhm.
And what I love about this question, or about this statement, is that I had a dog once who was no doubt a soulmate. I mean, I was such a connection to her. Oh, when she passed, I thought I was just going to die. And I mean, there's a difference between some
Yeah.
dogs that you love, you adore. It's different when you have that soulmate connection with
It
one.
is.
You know what I'm talking
I
about?
do. I do.
There's something
Absolutely.
about that connection that is
Hmm.
unbelievable. And I
Well,
think I will always look for that connection. And I feel badly because I love my other dogs, but that one dog was
yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, those dogs that become our soulmates come at a specific time in our
Yeah.
lives that we
Yeah.
so need that, and
Yeah.
it's not anything you can replicate.
Yeah.
It's not anything you can duplicate. And so
Yeah.
I've had that just very few times, although I love all of mine and
Yeah.
they're all special.
Right.
But you're right, just like with people where we have a deeper connection with
Yeah.
other, some than
Yep.
others,
Yep.
it's the same thing. But once you have a soulmate connection with an animal, it's unmistakable and you will
Right.
always look for it. Always.
Right. Always.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's
I
so
think
true with
Kiko
some
is
people.
totally that for her.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. There's some interesting questions here. Kathy Garland says we had so much grief with our dog that we've never gotten another one. I think we both want one again, but don't want to go through the grief. Let's talk about that. Boy,
Oh,
Kathy, that was exactly the situation that I had with my dog Maggie. And it's amazing that, and another dog came to us. I mean, it was, and
right,
who we fell madly in love with.
right.
But Don and I were both really hesitant about this. So can you talk about this one? Is this a big question?
Yeah, it is a big question. Hi, Kathy. I know Kathy.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I understand that. And I guess I look at my own life and think of all the loves and losses. And um, if I had closed my heart, I would have missed
yeah.
out on so much. And so it really is something you have to go within. And do you regret having that relationship? I always look and say, no, I would do it again a million times.
Oh, yeah, you're
Even
right.
though the grief is crippling, and
Yes.
I've totally been crippled in my life with the losses and the animals, and it's like you can hardly pick yourself back up again.
Right.
And at the same time, I really think when the heart cracks open, it cracks open even wider so that you can actually bring in even
Yeah.
more. It's not like
Well
it
said.
constricts, it expands.
Well said on that one. I mean, I still makes me cry when I think about losing my first dog.
Mm,
It breaks my heart. My heart was
mhm.
shattered. Was
Yes,
the damnedest thing. I
yes,
know that Don and I both went through that, but there's something. I was working with somebody today, and I was explaining that there's something that happens when I'm working with somebody who's lost an animal. There's something that happens to me. I actually get deeply emotional, and I
right.
have to stop the session for a minute, get a
Yeah,
Kleenex, and kind of calm myself down
yeah,
again, and then go back into the session. Uh, of all the loss, for some reason, that one seems to hit me
yeah.
really, really hard.
Yeah,
Yeah, Kathy
animals
says
break
that's
all
profound.
barriers. Mhm.
They do. They actually do. Oh, Karen Ann, birds, specifically canaries. Oh, I love birds. Such joyous song. She says, wait, where did that go? I just had it. Oh, she said, would love to have stronger bonds, but it doesn't flow like it does for dogs, cats, and horses. What do you do to enhance? Great question.
With birds and
Yeah.
specifically, that is very interesting. Their energy is very, very light, very, very subtle, and it's like you
Yeah.
have to expand your own energy, slow it down, expand your own energy, and just literally learn how to be with them so that you can hear their vibration. Um, and oddly, in the slowing down, you're actually raising your own vibration to match theirs.
And that's a good way to connect.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Anyway, yes. And with mediumship, that's what you have to do as well. You have
Oh,
to, your
sure.
vibration has to rise, and theirs kind of meets in the middle. You're right. They have to
Yeah.
lower theirs to match ours. And
Right.
the birds have such a quick, high vibration that it's like they're little fairies dancing everywhere. They're so quick.
Right. That is so
Hmm.
true.
Hmm.
Very true. Um, let's see. Well, Cynthia Tinney says my female pug, who we had to put down recently, was there for
Oh.
me during my sister's illness up to her passing. So sorry, Cynthia. She
Mm.
never left my side, and I was up at all hours of the day and night taking care of my sister who was on hospice. Oh, that's a tough one. It
Ugh.
was like she knew I needed her. Oh, for sure. She lived 2 years after my sister has passed, almost like she was waiting for me to be okay.
Mhm,
Are there
mhm.
any messages from her today? So I'm assuming she means her pug is gone now. Did I read that right? Or
Well, I'm already feeling nurse
okay.
energy from this pug. Total
Wow.
nurse energy. Like this pug was definitely a facilitator, a healer.
Mm,
Um, Definitely don't know if it had been in a nurse environment or had been a nurse in a private, in a former
mhm.
life or whatever. But animals do stay until that we get to a certain point so that then they can go. Just like
Yeah.
people wait until, you know, their loved one reaches a certain point and then they finally go or they leave the room or whatever, there's a certain something that they get to. So I feel with that pug,
Well,
I do get total
Cynthia
nurse
says
energy.
she's a nurse as well.
Ah, there you go.
There
Sorry.
you go. That was very good. Very good.
Total.
Julie West has a great question, and I love to talk about this. She says, "What about rescue dogs? How do they feel when you bring them home, when you rescue
Mhm,
them?"
mhm. Oh, I love this question.
Too.
So many have come to me that way. Well, all of them actually, but even Emmy,
Yeah.
but I'm working with somebody right now that has one, and I always tell them, give them 2 weeks. Give them 2 weeks to acclimate to your environment. They're going through a lot of energy detoxing and they're not quite sure where they are because they might have been moved so much in their life they may have lost before they came here, but 2 weeks and they acclimate, they learn, oh, maybe this is my home after all. Oh, after that 2 week period you'll start to see them relaxing and they won't be in survival mode, and then they'll start to personally develop. That's when you're really going to see the personalities come out. they're going
Yeah.
to they're going to calm down enough, but they're so grateful, and at the same time it may take them a minute to be sure this isn't going to go away too
Uh-huh.
quickly. And you just
Yeah.
have to be patient with that, not try to overdo it. We can tell them, "Oh, you're here to stay." I've always found with mine, the best thing to do is just, "Oh, you're one of the family, just come on in."
Right.
Like, you
Oh,
know,
I love that.
"Yeah, we're doing it this way. Come on and sit at the table," or whatever we're doing, you're
Yeah.
welcome. And if you're uncomfortable and you want to go sit in the corner, that's fine. That's fine. Just don't make a big deal out of anything, and
Right.
then they can work it out themselves.
Wow. And they know that they're rescued?
They know that, yes, yes, definitely, 100%
Wow.
yes. Yeah,
I always
they
think
do
rescue
know.
dogs are so special.
Yeah, no, they are, and they have a deep gratefulness
Mhm.
that you rarely find in any other. They understand. It's like Oliver Twist. They know what it's like to have been on the street. They
Right.
know what it's
Yeah.
like to have been unloved. So you've
Yeah.
got, they truly are so grateful for even the smallest little crumb we give them.
So true. Priscilla Sheridan asked a great question. She said, "My soul dog passed away about a year ago." So sorry, Priscilla. I haven't had the heart to get another one. Are our
Oh,
dogs that have passed remain our guides?
yes,
You
yes, and
betcha.
yes, absolutely. I
Mm,
had a lab named Molly, and she was in charge of the labs, the street smart gang that always got in trouble, and she would always tell on them. She would tattle. She was like the big tattler, and she would always like put her like paw on her hip, like, well, it's about time you I've been watching these, and you're not doing your job. She waited until every single one of them had
Oh,
passed
wow.
before she passed, and then she sent another lab in about 6 to 8 months later, and the lab that found me did something that was specific to Molly to let me know Molly had sent her.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yes, they absolutely are our guides, and you can ask them for help. They are so at the ready. If you've got another one that you need help with in the house, say, hey, I need your help with this, because I can't do this on my own, and you can help me. They're always available to do that.
And you'll always see your dogs again when it's your
Yes.
time to pass over. Those beloved dogs will come, and cats will come running up to greet you. They can't wait to see you.
Oh, it'll be a
And
stampede.
it'll be a stampede. Well, in your case, it'll be a stampede. I'll never forget, about a year after my mom passed, it was about a year later, I had a dream where she comes to me and she looks amazing and young and just incredible. And in her arms, which I was floored, was my dog Yasha from when I was a kid. And in the dream, I hadn't thought of Yasha. I wasn't thinking about
Oh.
him. I wasn't. And then, do you know what happened the next day? I had my pictures out from a long time ago. I was kind of glancing, and the picture that I had of Yasha fell out on the floor. And I hadn't thought of him
Oh.
in 30 years, maybe longer,
Oh.
frankly. So
What an
they do come back. It was an incredible experience. They do come back. They do come back. You'll see them. If you don't see them in this lifetime, you'll see them when it's your time to pass. They'll come and get you. They'll
100%.
greet you.
Yeah, yeah. What a beautiful visitation that
Oh,
was.
it was. Oh, I have to mention this. So Karen Glass, who's a dear friend. Oh my gosh, this is just an unbelievable. Do you know Karen? She's a
Mm-mm.
wonderful medium. So Karen says, my dog Petey, who you would have adored Petey, he
Oh.
started to hide under the bed 2 weeks before. Now, this is fascinating. I did not know that, Karen. Before he was killed by a pit bull. He was actually killed, gosh, this is about a month ago, I think, Karen. Do they know that they are going to go like that? Isn't that interesting? I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to say a resounding yes, they do. That's what
Yeah,
I'm going to say. Because,
yeah.
in fact, Karen, my dog Maggie, who I just was my soulmate, we were attacked. And that's how she died, in my arms. She was attacked. We were attacked by 3 dogs, actually. And what happened is, as I was crossing the street, I felt her pull back. She didn't want to cross the street. I said, well, that's odd. No, come on. Do you know, that morning I couldn't even get her out of bed to go for a walk? So I knew she knew something. Now, I mean,
Yeah,
now in hindsight, I can say
yeah,
that. So I
yeah,
think Petey knew, Karen. I think he knew
yeah.
something. Hiding under the bed for 2 weeks, and he was such a social dog.
Yes,
Sweetest dog you
definitely,
ever saw in your life.
definitely. They can feel the energy coming. And,
Yes.
as much as it's a very tragic ending, and my goodness, I'm so sorry that happened. It's something that it's almost like an event that couldn't have been prevented, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
They felt it coming. They knew this was part of their soul plan and soul path, but
Yeah.
their bodies were resonating with the energy coming.
Yeah. Ah, very good, Tammy.
Mhm.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with that
Oh,
statement. That's such a tough one.
that is an yes,
Oh, I was crushed for her.
yes, yes. I'm so sorry,
God,
because that was
such a
one
hard
that,
one.
yes, takes a long time to work through.
Oh my God, and he was the most special dog. Oh my God.
Oh,
He hid before bedtime. Oh, Karen, it just kills me. Um, Chrissy Hayden says, can you tell me why my dog is so aggressive? He pulled me down steps excited, and now I have a concussion. Oh my
oh
God.
no.
First of all, I feel your pain on that one. I am so sorry.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
I'd have to look at what's going on in the
Yeah.
home, and
Um,
what's going on orbiting in your life at this particular time. If this is something that's new, a new behavior, or it's been always like this. It feels like this. I'm sorry, and this is going to sound callous, and I don't mean it. It just feels like it's a tipping point. There's a tipping point
uh,
here, and so the fact that it had to come to such a, like, that's a terrible thing to have happen, I would use this time to sit back and really look at what's going on around this kind of event.
Yeah, I would too. That's a really good answer, actually.
Mm.
Carmen Swick says, a friend bought me an orchid when my dog passed. It stopped blooming, and now I might be getting another one any day, and the orchid bloomed the other day. I love this.
I love that. Everything's connected.
Right?
Everything's connected. Yes.
Everything's connected.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So true.
that shows how in tune you are
Yeah.
with things.
Right.
So yes, definitely, that's a beautiful sign. Beautiful sign.
Oh, it is. So here's a question. Rebecca Harr says, do feral cats, and we were just talking about
Mhm.
in her business block where she lives in town, do they feel and understand that when she sends them love? Is it good to try to tame them? Great question.
I love this question because it's feral cats in general are misunderstood. And we do try to domesticate them. So feral cats in general are probably as close to wild as you can get. However, do they feel emotions? Do they feel 100%? Absolutely. I know of I just had something with a feral cat this week that if I'll tell you a quick story. So it's not, well, just disclaimer. It might be a bit tender. So there's a feral cat colony at the office where my daughter works, and they've been feeding them, and they've been getting them spayed and neutered and whatnot. And they actually have names for some of the cats that are regulars. And there's Evelyn, and there's Louise, and then there's these little kittens. And so a few weeks ago, one of the not little kittens, 6 to a 12-month-old cat, it was a cool day, and the cat crawled into one of the cars. And so an employee left or started her car up, and she heard this noise.
Ooh.
So she turns it off and she goes back and she says, oh my goodness, I think there's a cat in my car. Please help. So they go and look, and the little cat has gotten caught in the fan belt. Her arm has gotten caught in the fan belt. And so there's a great debate on what to do, like how to get this cat out. So they end up cutting the fan belt so that the cat can, like they'll just take care of the car later.
Right.
They cut the fan belt, and through the cat shoots out and runs as fast as they can. They can't get it, but it has been one of the regulars that comes. So they don't know what's happened to the cat. So 2 weeks later, which would have been day before yesterday, the cat shows back up, only it's limping terribly, and it's really, really hungry, and it's crying to be helped, only it won't let itself be picked up. The next day, it did allow itself to be picked up. And so we ran her to the vet, and I went to my vet and I said, please take a look at her, see what we can do to help her. In the end, that one little leg was so damaged that, and she was incredibly sweet, like soft energy, like not totally even feral, very soft energy. It equated to like gangrene in the leg, so she couldn't, and she had toxicity in her body, so she had to be euthanized. This whole episode was so tragic because you would think she showed up to be helped to live, right?
Right.
But I really, in sitting with it, I'm looking at all the characters that came into play to help this cat, like to get the cat out the fan belt,
Right.
and then she and it was several different people that were unrelated that just were there to help her. And then 2 weeks later, she shows back up when it's kind of too late to help her. But my sense of it is it was a bigger picture for all these people involved in what it brought out in them, the emotions, the
Yes.
the opportunity to help. And at the same time for her, she felt loved. She felt like she mattered. She felt, I mean, this was a feral cat that most people, like feral cats are like, oh, they're discards. She knew that she was cared for and loved. And
That's
I've
awesome.
always felt if we only experience love a minute in our life, it's been a rich life.
Wow. So true.
So yes,
That's
feral
a
cats
great way.
do
I love the
feel.
lens you used through that for the everybody that helped to, I mean,
Yeah.
everybody really put their heart and soul into that. And that's
Yes.
really what this world is about, right? Really
Yes.
heart and soul. And
Yes.
from that the little one, that's just a great story. And it reminds me of when 20 years ago, I had forgotten about this till just now. My daughter and I worked at a cat rescue, and it was October, and there were tons and tons of cats, and I built things for these cats, and I helped rescue and give these cats a home, and I did all this. Anyway, I worked all day, and I felt good about what I had done. I was still in the corporate world, and I felt
Mhm.
good about what I had done. And I drive home. This is like 25 years ago. I drive home. I get home. I drive literally 10 miles. I get home. I hear this noise. That's odd. What's that? And there was a kitten attached to my wheel of my car that survived. I didn't know it was even.
Oh my
How did
goodness.
that happen? Well, do you know, I called my daughter's stepmother at the time. I said, Sherry, will you do me a favor? Please take this, because the man I was married to was allergic to cats and we couldn't keep him. So I said, oh, please take this kitten. She took that kitten. That kitten had two more kittens. Those two kittens, when I got divorced, we took those cats, and those cats rescued us.
Oh,
I
wow.
love this kind
Wow.
of thing. So it's interesting. I've forgotten about that story with it till
Wow.
you had mentioned that about the car and it's
Yeah.
wild how cats. I didn't even know they could do this. Sneak under a car or get in a
Right.
hood, or who knew?
Right.
Such an odd
Exactly.
thing. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
So here's one. Kate Donlin says, "Hi Tammy and Kelly.
Hi,
A
Kate.
great Dane appeared in my meditation this morning and even gave me his name,
Uh-oh.
Brutus." Brutus. A2 Brute. I don't have a Great Dane. And I do have a small dog that does not like other dogs. So I wouldn't be getting another dog. Is this good? A new is this GD a new guide for me? Oh,
This
Great
is
Dane.
great.
That's a funny one. I would have to say yes.
Yeah, definitely. In my situation, I'd be like ducking when I go out because anytime I have a dream about an animal showing up, I'm like a week later. So I start like, is it okay for me to go out?
Oh my
um,
gosh,
in this,
right.
in this case, I'm feeling like I would say stay tuned on this because it feels
Yeah.
like there's more to come, more information to come. And I know Kate's been working on her animal communication, so this
Okay.
is like perfect for you. So I would definitely go back into that dream and I would pick out the main points that stand out, like the high voltage images,
Right.
and I would also um, actually go back into the dream to see if it had anything else to tell you before you woke up.
Well, it was in a meditation.
Oh,
So
in a meditation,
yeah.
okay. I would go
Go
back,
back
okay,
go back into
okay. Go
meditation
back
for
into that
sure.
meditation and go back into that space and see if there's more information that can come because I feel like
Mhm.
there's more to be heard here.
Oh, I agree. So
Mhm.
Paul Calliser, hi Paul, my friend, was so blessed to have my stray cat that came into my and my ex-partner's life many years ago. Was always a dog person. And she changed my life when she claimed
Oh,
me as her person. We had her for 3 years, and my ex partner left me, and my cat stayed with me throughout nursing school. And this separation from my ex partner, she developed cancer that metastasized. One of the hardest losses ever was letting my soul cat go. Misery, her name, lives in my heart.
oh,
Oh,
what a beautiful tribute
yeah,
to her, though. What a
yeah.
beautiful story. None of us is permanent here, and so or permanent. And so for her to have come and made such a big impact
Yeah,
is
right?
huge.
Right.
Is
It's
huge.
huge. And that's
Hmm.
what animals do. They make the biggest impact in our life.
They
Okay.
do.
I have to answer this question. Anne Margaret, which I love the name, says,
I do too.
"Why do I have coyotes in my woods howling? Any sign?" Anne Margaret, do you live in Wisconsin, like down the road? Because we have coyotes all the time, all night long. They're
I wonder.
tricksters. Coyotes are
Yeah, they
tricksters.
are. They are. And I would probably look at, do they howl at certain times? Like when are they howling? Is there a pattern to the howling? What's happened in your day when they're howling? everything's connected. So,
Yeah.
you know, rather than looking as an object outside of yourself,
That's
start
good.
stating or looking at it as, well, it's Tuesday and it's a full moon, and I'm wondering, you know, what's going on, and you know, because it's all paralleling each
Right.
other. Hmm.
That's so true. That's so
Hmm.
true.
Hmm.
Let's see. Let's see. There's so many other questions. Um, Kathy Garland says these stories are bringing tears to my eyes.
Oh,
Oh, bless your
oh.
heart. Okay. Oh, this is good. Amy Augustine says, I feel like my dog can read my mind. I think so too. I am thinking, I am thinking about taking her for a walk, and she shows up in the room a minute later with the walk excitement. That's a big connection, actually.
It is, and that doesn't surprise me with Amy for sure. That she has a great connection to animals. So
Uh,
yeah, I mean, that's just like, really, I was trying to give you the memo, and she's
right,
training you.
right, right. She's training you.
Right.
Oh my God. Oh, and Margaret, mine is at 3 in the morning too. Anywhere from we hear coyotes anywhere from I don't know 11 at night till 3 or 4 in the morning. I think they're eating. Frankly, I think they've kind of busted into somebody's farm. Is
Mm,
what I think about that. Oh,
mhm.
Arlene Dueber says I've been crying since the show started. Oh, you must be
Oh,
an animal sensitive, and we love you. That's always a
yes.
wonderful thing. Oh,
Yeah.
great question. Mimis, I don't know if I'm going to say your name right. Mimesis. That's a wild name. Hi, I just wanted to ask about dogs with doggy dementia. Does that mean they are ready to go? I didn't even know dogs could get
Oh,
dementia.
they do.
Okay,
They
let's
absolutely
talk
do.
about that one because this is a
Yeah.
new one for me. So
Um,
thank you for asking the question.
You know, when dogs have, or animals, it doesn't matter, dogs, cats, whatever, have dementia, and I have a couple on the property now that do. Um, it's kind of a transition period that may last
Okay.
for several years. That where the stage of them kind of
Wow.
they slip in and out of worlds, and it's a gentle, easy transition for them. So it doesn't mean they're ready to go right then, not at all. It means that you just kind of watch that stage of it to where, you know, obviously the quality of life you take into consideration. But I had my Rosie pass, and she was an Australian Shepherd, and Rosie was like 16 this year when she passed.
Hmm.
And she definitely had dementia for about, I'd say, 4 years.
Well, what are the
And
signs to look for?
um, you know, they start doing behaviors that are unusual. Like for Rosie, didn't like where she was sleeping. She had always been in charge of Magic, a pointer. Bless her heart, she needed to be a saint for looking after Magic. But anyway, Magic passed, and I think she lost her kind of purpose,
Um,
and she started chewing everything and like chewing the door. So I ended up putting her with Ollie, who's a semi-feral. He's 16 too. Jack Russell, who actually, I even today, and I've had him like 16 years. I can't necessarily touch him or pick him up. I can turn my head and look at, you know, other way, and I can pet him, but I can't,
wow.
like. So she took care of him, but the behaviors change. They start doing strange things that you wouldn't think. They get up in the middle of the night when they don't normally get up in the middle of the night. So
Wow.
their patterns change.
Oh, that and Minimus says mine is an Aussie too.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
You know, and Aussies are very specific about what their jobs are, and they've always been very focused. And so when
Right.
Rosie started that, I just couldn't understand why she had ripped down a door. Like, why did you do that? But that's what it was. And once I put her with
Sure.
Ollie, and I said, "Can you help Ollie?" And she was like, "Oh, I know what to do now." So
Wow.
routine for dogs that have dementia
Okay.
is really important for them. So just to keep the routine the same as much as you can.
Wow. Well, Tammy, unfortunately, our time is up,
Oh,
but how do people reach you? Oh, Tracy says, thank you, Kelly and Tammy, and Miss Emmy for the love, guidance,
oh,
wisdom shared. Fills
I
my
know.
heart.
She's
Oh,
here.
she is the cutest thing ever. Oh my
She
gosh.
is such a love bug.
So you do private sessions, and I know you're
I
going to be doing
do.
some webinars soon.
Yes. Yes. I'm really looking forward to getting back with webinars and helping people understand on on a deeper level with their animals. But yes, private
Yeah.
sessions and webinars that I'll give announcements to.
Oh, good. And you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook,
Yes.
and remind us of the Facebook soul group that you have.
I've got a great group on Facebook. It's Soul Speak for Animals with Tami Hendrix, and it's such a loving, supporting group that please, join. We would love to have you.
Yeah. Oh, and everybody, Otis and Charlotte have an Instagram. It's
Oh,
Otis and
good.
Charlotte on Instagram. You can see the lovebirds together,
I
and
love that.
they will be answering all your love questions.
That
They
is
are
perfect.
experts.
No, they totally are. We need to write in questions to them. Like, how do you do it? Like, what's the secret?
What's the secret? Well, you play.
Yep.
They are never apart. I've never seen two
Oh,
people like this, let alone two dogs. They're always together,
that's
constantly together.
beautiful.
Love, love, love. The other day I was floored and I couldn't get my phone out to take a picture fast enough. They were both drinking out of the same, we have water buckets all over the farm for them. And
Right.
they're both together with their giant heads in this bucket.
I love that.
I was like, wow, they even have to do this together,
It's like Lady and the Tramp with the
Yes,
spaghetti.
the spaghetti. It's the same thing.
Yep.
Oh my God. So funniest thing ever. Anyway, Tami, it's so wonderful to have you on, and I can't wait to have you on again. And
Thank you
we'll
so much.
see you so soon. Take care,
Yes.
everybody. Next week. We'll see you next week, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
You've been listening to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kelly White.